2022 has proved to be a crazy year when it comes to housing and the way that we buy and sell homes. We went from a market where we had record low interest rates and record high amounts of purchasing happening with not enough houses to purchase to now we're in a situation where we have plenty of homes and our interest rates are up. And it may be difficult for you to understand, hey, is now the right time to purchase? Well, I've got 5 reasons why I think it might be a good time for you to purchase. If you fall into one of these categories, I'd certainly think that it might be worth looking into. Now, the number one reason, which will be at the very last of the video, is probably the most important reason to look at and to find out if things are going to work for you, because it truly is one of the best reasons to go ahead and purchase. Now, all of these are great, but the last one's really, really important, so stick around to the end. All right, so let's get started. What is the number one reason that we're going to start off with? Well, that's going to be for space. If you've added people to your home, whether it be through having a baby or perhaps adding a spouse to your home or a mother, or mother-in-law, father-in-law, and especially what I'm seeing here lately are families moving back in with families. So you have children that have left the house and they've come back and moved back in with their children or spouse, and that's created a little bit of a challenge when it comes to space in your home. And when that happens, we definitely want to look at and see if maybe it's a good time to go ahead and look for something a little bit bigger that may be a better fit and keep you guys from going at each other's throats. Now, the opposite's also true, and we see that a lot too when it comes to space, which is, hey, the kids have moved out, mom is no longer going to need us to house her, and we need to figure out what to do because we don't need this much space. We've paying too much on our electricity. We're keeping rooms clean that we don't even need to keep clean, and we're paying taxes on a house that we don't even need. So in those cases, it's especially difficult for you to make that move, but it's definitely something that you need to take a look at. You know, as kids graduate college, are they going to move back in with you? These are questions that you really, really need to take into account, especially when you start thinking about how long they're going to be living with you. So when it comes to children, for sure, I mean, you've got at least 18 years that they're going to be a part of your family, and you certainly don't want to be in an undersized home, especially as they get a little bit older and they start rough housing around your house a little bit. The second reason you might be looking at possibly purchasing is that you've been working on your credit for a while and it's started to make that comeback. You're getting into those areas where you're like, you know what? I've paid the things off that I need to pay off. Our credit is good, and we've been saving. Now, in order to purchase a home, you're going to be looking at anywhere from 3.5% to 5%, all the way up to 20% to get a loan on your home, depending on whether you want land or a house. So it's important to know kind of where you stand, and I'd love to talk to you about that. So if you're in a situation where you're not sure about your credit, we can definitely sit down and talk to you and see if now's a good time. And I think it's important to really look at that, because even if you're not where you want to be, we have people that can certainly help you get to where you need to be. Sometimes it takes a little while, but that patience pays off. And when we're able to get somebody who's had some credit issues, able to get them into a home, if it takes 6 months, a year, it's so rewarding for everybody involved, for us as the people who are going to be your representatives, but also for you and your family to be able to call a place your own. It's so important, and I certainly would suggest it to you. So if you're on the mend, or even if you haven't quite gotten there yet, would love to help you through that process. Number 3, the reason I think that a lot of people really want to go ahead and make that purchase is they found a place that they absolutely love as far as area is concerned. Perhaps you're living on the north side of DFW and you would like to live on the south side, or you're living in Arizona and you really want to be in the DFW Metroplex. These are good reasons to really look at it and say, hey, is this a time I need to go ahead and purchase? Perhaps to just get into the area I want to be. If you have friends that are living in a certain neighborhood, and there's some great ones out there where they have good biking trails, or they have activities, or there's a certain grocery store like H-E-B, which is really popular around here. I've had people literally move into areas simply because there's an H-E-B close. But the most common are typically that we have friends or family, and we just want to live a little bit closer to them or be in a certain area as far as that's concerned. Everybody's got a different reason for why they love a certain area. It may be the ability to get to work a little bit quicker, or perhaps to have a little bit more space in between you and your neighbors. These areas are so important. We always talk in real estate terms of location, location, location. There's a lot you can change about your house, but you can't change where you live unless you go and buy a home or sell a home and make that move. So your location is very important. And so as far as area is concerned, if there's an area you're specifically looking at, if you want to be out in Walsh Ranch per se, where it's just, it's a lot of community events, it's super nice, it's close to downtown Fort Worth. There's a lot of things that can happen in those areas. So definitely want to look at that as a possibility, and certainly take the time to see if the numbers work for you, even if you may feel like maybe it's a little bit higher than you want to pay, but getting into that area is super important. All right, the fourth reason, and I think this is a very, very important one to think about, and that is if your job situation has changed. Perhaps you've gotten a promotion and you're finally in a situation where you can make a move into another home that may fit your lifestyle better, and you just want to make that move. Or, which we're seeing a lot of right now, is people are getting remote jobs and they're needing to work from home. And the necessity to work from home, believe it or not, will change you very quickly. If you're living in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, you've got 2 kids, and that's all you have no office space, and you get a remote job, you're going to find very quickly that you need an office, and that you need maybe an extra bedroom to house that office, or at least an office to put your items into. It happens a lot more than really we talk about, especially in today's marketplace, where we just have people that, hey, I'm working from home now, and my life spends so much time there that I really need a nice place. And COVID definitely sussed that out, because when COVID happened, we were all just confined to our homes, and we realized, wow, I really need to make my home nicer than it is. So we had a lot of remodeling, things like that. But the number one thing that happened during COVID is a lot of these jobs went remote, and they realized they didn't have to have office buildings. So if you're in a situation where, hey, Jason, I no longer office from Dallas anymore. I can office wherever I want to. I only have to drive into town once a month. If that's a situation, then there are some great areas where we can put you, and perhaps your 3-bedroom, 2-bath that's in Plano can bring you enough money to where you can get you a really nice 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath house out in a neighboring city. So it's definitely something to look at as we kind of suss out whether or not that's going to work for you. All right, the fifth reason, and this to me is one of the most important reasons you need to go ahead and start looking at purchasing at the end of 2022 and early 2023. And that is, you are currently renting a home and you're paying more than you would have to pay if you went ahead and purchased a home. And to give you an example would be someone who's paying $2,600 to $3,000 a month for a home, and they could possibly purchase something in the $320,000 to $350,000 range home and pay about the same amount of money or less for that home, and you actually get to pay down into equity. And to just kind of go over that real quickly, if you're renting a home, you are making no money when you purchase, that monthly installment. You're paying $2,600, $2,800 a month, and someone else is taking a little bit of that money and pocketing it, and they're paying down the loan that they took out on the home. Now, for you, that's 100% interest. So when we're looking at something that you're paying 7.5% interest on a loan, that's much less than the 100% that you're paying while you're renting. So it's something to certainly look at, especially if you take into account that if you're paying $2,800 a month and you can go and buy a $300,000, $350,000 home and pay less per month, then that's certainly something to look at and say, you know what, I can have a home that I can call my own, that I can pay into and earn equity over time. And when I get ready to sell, I can take that money and use it to purchase another home that gives you a lot of freedom that you didn't have before when you were renting. So certainly, if you're in a situation where you're like, Jason, I've been renting for the last 5 years, and I'm really thinking about buying, but I don't know if now's a good time. Let's look at that, because truthfully, if you can find a home that fits what you're paying in rent already, it makes sense to go ahead and pull the trigger and say, you know what, now's the time to go ahead and say yes. Yes, I can buy, because we have homes available. It's not like it was where we were having multiple offer situations. We had a lot of renters that wanted to buy last year that couldn't, because they were getting beat out by people with high amounts of cash. Now, we still have elements of that, but it's certainly not what it was. So no matter what the situation is, if you're renting, it's certainly worth a look to see if it's a good time to go ahead and purchase. Well, there you have it. Those are the 5 reasons that I think it might be a good time to go ahead and look at purchasing a home at the end of 2022 or early 2023. Obviously, everybody's got their own reasons, and there may be a lot of reasons on here that you guys think of that they're not necessarily ones that I've put on here. If you have a reason, pop it down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your reason why it might be a good idea to go ahead and purchase. And certainly, if you have one of those on your list and you're not sure how to move forward, we would love to help you. Our team is here waiting to help you in whatever capacity we can. You can reach out to our phone number, 817-900-2221. You can text there as well. It is a cell line, so we will reach back out to you, whatever the case may be. I hope wherever you are, if your goal is to purchase a home in the very near future, I certainly pray for you to have the experience you need to get into the home that you will love.